Okay, I'm gonna just cut to the chase. Temmie Chang's been uploading various gameplay clips of Dweller's Empty Path 2 to her Twitter, and I have strong reason to believe that this one in specific that I will play for you in a moment, you can skip to this timestamp if you've already seen it, does take place sometime before Dweller's Empty Path 1. More specifically, sometime after she's been hired by Este, and sometime before Zara started giving her magic nightmares. Going through the dialogue linearly, the first continuity clue is that saying that you've developed a potion to induce sleep, and then immediately continuing to describe that it also f***s up your brain permanently is a bit of a dickhead way to open a conversation with someone who has been having issues with sleep. Like, imagine you've been having bad allergies, and then your best friend who's a scientist tells you, "I've developed a new formula that treats allergies and also replaces your kidneys with baby knees that instead of filtering blood can only filter Gatorade." Like, how f***ed up would that be? You know, leads me to believe that this presumably takes place before Zara started giving Yoki all the evil magic nightmares with his evil magic eyeball orb thing that he has. Our second continuity clue can be derived from the same general selection of dialogue and just the general emotion being portrayed by Claire and her characterization here is odd in comparison to Dweller's Empty Path 1. Like, she's so enthusiastic about developing this poison, which very much so contradicts the way she was characterized in Dweller's Empty Path 1. I'll show, like, the specific interaction that really feels like is being contradicted here.
I got your meth. Wow, you brought my stuff. Thanks so much. Sure thing. I'm assuming these are ingredients for witchcraft. Yep, they sure are. And these are especially hard to come by. What are these ingredients for this time? The doctor's tone really changed when I brought up the order. It's, the commission this time is a little unpleasant. Okay. Just kidding. It's for healing potions. Witchcraft is used for more than just vile reasons like making poisons or curses. Though I guess I've taken on a few of those types of jobs before. If these ingredients help people, why do they have to be obtained so sneakily? The only use for these types of unique items are formulas relating to witchcraft. And ingredients like these tend to have uses in more than just one formula. Some being very deadly or dangerous. To reduce the risk of these being used for some dangerous stuff, it's all just outlawed. Annoying, right? I guess I understand. Huh. Anyway, I have the ingredients now. But I don't have to make the potions right away. Why don't I take you for a flight on my broom? That always helps me feel better when I'm not doing too well. I'll be waiting for you outside. Okay.
And it would really only make sense if the Dweller's Empty Path 2 interaction came after, like, a major shift in perspective that Claire had about, like, making poisons and curses and in general the more harmful uses of witchcraft. I mean, I guess maybe what this scene is trying to communicate is that Claire's only really uncomfortable with making poisons and stuff for clients, and she's fine doing it for personal uses. Okay, this next continuity clue is probably the strongest one. Yoki's line, "Can't you make anything other than poisons?" does not make sense to say after she had already delivered Claire ingredients to make healing potions. Like, Temmie easily could have had the line be something along the lines of already back to making poisons, or whatever happened to making healing potions, or anything to that effect. And, like, it's such a removable and changeable line that I feel like it not making sense after Dweller's Empty Path 1 had to have been intentional. And we know that, like, as of Dweller's Empty Path, poisons are definitely not most of what Claire makes. Like, in that other interaction, she said, "I guess I've taken a few jobs like that." And in the broom flight, she very clearly states that healing potions are currently most of what her commissions are for, due to the increased beast-type aggression. And here in Dweller's Empty Path 2, the dialogue seems to suggest that she mainly makes poisons, which probably means it's sometime before beast types started getting way more aggressive, and therefore people needed more healing potions. Also, this is mainly just vibes-based, but, like, the way Yoki says that gives off the vibes of something she would only really say when she's much less familiar with witchcraft and doesn't really know Claire as well. Our fourth continuity clue is about the house itself. It looks like a decent amount different than it looked in Dweller's Empty Path 1. And, like, I could hand-wave the interior layout changes. Like, they mainly just seem to be fixing the thing where going in a door one direction would lead you out the opposite direction, which would be kind of annoying, because you could just be holding right and then accidentally re-enter a room you just exited, or vice versa. But the changes to the design of the exterior feel much more of something we're supposed to actually think about. Like, they're small enough that they don't feel like they would be super important, but they're big enough that you notice that they're different at all. Like, it feels like the main thing being communicated is just that there is a change. And it would be really weird to just arbitrarily change the appearance of the most thematically important location in your story, so I feel like this change has to be diegetic to some degree, and what I'd assume is that sometime between this clip and Dweller's Empty Path 1, the house goes through some sort of renovation. And also, this does tie in really nicely with a headcanon I'm very fond of, that the chimney was installed for the fumes of Claire's cauldron, since we don't really ever see a fireplace that it's connected to. Now, this next continuity clue is back at the start of interaction, and it's specifically the way Claire begins the interaction. Like, she is quite literally jumping for joy, and in comparison, when you first interact with Claire at the start of Dweller's Empty Path 1, she greets you much more casually, and looking at the dialogue following, in Dweller's Empty Path 1, she specifically notes that Yoki has woken up earlier than normal, which means she's lived with Yoki long enough to become accustomed to her sleep cycle and notice when it's deviated from. And in comparison, in the Dweller's Empty Path 2 clip, she just seems surprised that Yoki is awake at all. And, like, if she had the familiarity with Yoki that she has in Dweller's Empty Path 1, she would either just not be surprised, because, yeah, this is when she normally wakes up, or be surprised at the time she wakes up. You're up earlier, you're up late. And also in the Dweller's Empty Path 2 clip, this entire interaction is just her describing the potion she's made to Yoki. But back in Dweller's Empty Path 1, she doesn't feel the need to do that. She's even midway through making this potion, and she doesn't even describe it. And to me, I read that as Claire only sometimes feeling the need to explain to Yoki specific potions she's making if they're especially noteworthy. Okay, now this last continuity clue is a bit, vague, but it does tell us something about when it's positioned in the timeline. Near the end, Yoki's line, "These letters won't deliver themselves," tells us that at the very least, that this is sometime after Yoki has started working with Este at the post office. Assuming that Este has only hired Yoki once, which is probably true, but we don't know that 100% for certain. And it also reconfirms that, at the very least, this isn't the exact day after Dweller's Empty Path 1, because the wording of "these letters" implies that Yoki's talking about letters that she currently has on her person, and the only letters that Yoki can ever access in Dweller's Empty Path 1 are the ones Este gives her at the post office that she then delivers that same day, so the only letters she could have are those letters, and she's already delivered them. Now, does this mean that the entirety of Dweller's Empty Path 2 will be a prequel? I don't know, maybe. The scene could just be a flashback, or there's just another explanation for all the continuity errors. Like, I don't know, maybe there's some weird meta-narrative 4D chess bullshit going on. Or maybe Temmie's just writer, I don't know. It's probably not that. I really f***ing hope it's not that. But this does plant the interesting idea that over time Claire became more and more disdainful for the harmful uses of witchcraft, which is a cool and interesting idea, and I really hope that gets developed on.